everyone. So today in this video we will learn how to implement a search functionality in React, and we will also learn how to debounce that search functionality in React. So debouncing is just a way of entering many inputs and to ensure that we only do a particular operation after the input that we are doing is stopped for a particular delay of time. So we'll learn while we are implementing the debounce and search functionality. So we'll learn that along the way. So let's get started. So I have initially created a data array. So this data array is what I'll be using to display on my web page. So I'll just remove this app for now because I don't want the styles that are already there. I'll now create an input. So my input will have a placeholder of search, and it will have a initial value of input. So I'll declare that input state here, const input. So this will be my input state and my input state updater use state. It will be empty by default, right? And now on change of it, I'll call handle change that will update my state. Const handle change, it will update my input state. So I'll update my input state as e.target.value, right? So this is my search. It works. I can type in anything. Now I'll create an unordered list that will display my filtered results. So it will have my filtered data. So I'll be creating a new state here that will store my filtered data, and set filtered data, and it will be, so by default the state will be data. I'll be using this state as the default state. So I'll be mapping over this data. I'll do it well here, and here I'll return an li unordered list, and its key will be val.id. As you can see that IDs are unique, and its value will be val.title, right? So by default the data is visible here. Now I'll create a search functionality, a search feature that will search the query. Query means the input that I'm typing here. So here I'll do the filtered data. I'll take out the filtered data from my filtered data dot filter well, and this will return if I type in query as test, right? So it should return that my val dot title dot to lowercase. So I'll just convert it to lowercase so that everything is matching. And if it includes my query dot to lowercase, then it returns true. And this I'll just finally set my filtered data to filtered array that I'll get from this operation. Right now I just need to use this search functionality, so I'll just do search e.target.value. Now let's see if it works. So we can see that it works. Just one problem here is that it always cleans the data, so we just need to do a fallback here. So what we can do is, here we are calling search e.target.value, and every time we do a search the filter data gets filtered over, right? So filtered, so I'm doing a val.title dot to lowercase dot includes query dot to lowercase. Okay, since I'm doing filter over my filter data, I need to do filter over my this data, because this is the data that I eventually want to search from. So if I save this up, and let's see what are the console errors. Error in sandbox. Okay, I'll refresh the page here. Yeah, I'll now just try filtering in. It works. So I can filter it, and it's working perfectly fine. So what I'm doing here is I'm calling my search function whenever there is a change in my input, and inside my search function I'm doing my filtering over the data part, and I'm setting the new filter data. So now I'll implement a debounce function. So I'll implement a debounce function, and this will take a function and a delay as arguments, and I'll do a default delay of 1 second. Now I'll declare a timeout ID, and this debounce function will return a function. This function will take in the arguments of the previous function. This argument will refer to the arguments passed to this function, and I'll first declare a context here, and my context will refer to the context of this basically means that my context refers to the context of this. So it, like any variables that I point to, will indirectly refer to this function. Now I'll check if my timeout ID exists. If it is exist, I'll call the clear timeout ID, and now I'll initialize my timeout ID as clear as set timeout, and I will call the delay here, and now I'll call the function here, function dot apply. I'll pass in first context and then arguments. So apply takes first the first context and then an array of arguments. And now I'll use this debounce. So basically I just need to debounce on my search part, like whenever I type something, and it, like, this filtering should only take place when I stop typing and after this particular delay. So like if I'm typing something and I stop typing, then after I stop typing, after 1 second of I have stopped typing, the filter should take place, the search should take place, the search should happen. So I just need to debounce my search. So I'll create a debounced search here, and this will debounce my search functionality, and I'll provide a delay of 2 seconds, and here I'll call debounce search. Now let's see if this works. So now if I type JO, then after 2 seconds my filtering takes place and I get the result. If I clear this out, then after 2 seconds filtering takes place, and then I get the results. So we can see that the debounce is working perfectly fine. So this is basically used when you want to remove unnecessary or remove too many API calls or too many operations happening when the user is interacting, and you only want the operation to take place after a set particular amount of time when the user has stopped interacting. So this was all. This was of how you can create your own search functionality with the debounce in React. So this was all for today. I'll see you in next one. Bye bye.